Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If you are new here, we are James and Michelle. We live in the East Kootenays of British Columbia on just under 4 acres. We are building a lot of rammed earth projects here. So we are in the process of building a 1,300 square foot year-round geothermal rammed earth greenhouse. And we have just completed a 3-week-long rammed earth course here on our property. So today is
the Monday after the rammed earth course.
we're both a little bit delirious because it's been a lot, but it's been amazing.
Yeah,
we the project that we chose to do for the workshop is a 8x12 rammed earth sauna. So we currently have about 3/4 of it done. The workshoppers were able to ram 3.5 walls.
Yeah, just over 3.5.
Yeah.
And today we're going to finish the last half because we didn't complete it during the workshop. Yeah, we're going to get going on this and to get this finished off today and probably show you the reveal at the end.
Yeah, we'll be
We can strip it tomorrow.
Yeah. So this so the wall, it's here, is how many feet have you got
Just over 6.
that you've rammed, that
Yeah.
they've rammed, and
Yeah.
then you have 6 more to go?
Give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the framing has been on the rammed earth for a couple of days now.
Yeah, like 4.
Yeah. Usually what you do is you try to ram a whole wall in a day or two, and then you strip it 24 hours later. So what do you think? Is there going to be any ramifications of that sitting there for more days?
I don't think so. We had some really heavy rain. Everything was tarped. The worst case scenario, but we're using a paperback form, so that form will release nicely, ideally.
Yeah.
But when we did the rammed earth greenhouse, there was a few areas where I'd left it longer than
Did you?
a few days. Yeah. And the rammed earth reacts a little bit differently than if it was a concrete. Even though we have added cement to it, it doesn't bond as much to the formwork as concrete would.
Mhm.
But we don't want to leave it terribly long because the longer you leave it, the greater the chance of the formwork bonding to your.
Yeah, and then
Rammed
coming off when you're taking the formwork off. We hope that you enjoyed today's video. It'll be probably the last one for the workshop series. We have a whole playlist dedicated to this workshop on our channel, and I'll link it down below.
We will have more videos about the sauna though, getting it completed because we have to do the roof. There's an interior wood wall, the floor.
Yeah. And we actually have to finish it.
the ceiling of the rammed earth, which we have to wait 28 days to do. Quite a bit that still has to happen to finish this, but we definitely want this up and going for the winter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there'll be more on this, and then yeah, we'll get some footage of ramming. I guess I got to do it by myself. Michelle's gonna film.
Yeah.
All the help is gone.
Yeah.
But we got to get it done and also get everything cleaned up from the chaos of the workshop.
Okay, let's get to work.
All right. Just a little bit about the tools that we're using for the ramming. This is a pneumatic rammer. Weighs about 30 pounds. It does about, I want to say 800 beats per minute with the tamper. So we use this for the rammed earth greenhouse. It also has an inline oiler, so this connects to another red hose with a Chicago fitting is what they're called. This one was purchased by a company called Dobco in Canada. Chicago Pneumatics makes these, and then also for the course, there's a few other manufacturers, but if you're looking to purchase this equipment, we did use a slightly lighter model for the course. It's a little bit easier for people to learn with one that doesn't weigh so heavy and it has a lower beats per minute. We'll show you this in action, and we're gonna get the compressor behind me fired up, and this is a XR SC70 compressor. So the 70 stands for 70 CFM. This particular rammer is about, I believe, 27 CFM. I think Max's is around 20. They both work really effectively. This one does compress the rammed earth a little bit quicker. But yeah, let's get the compressor fired up. Show you how that works. It's a gas compressor. We were also successfully running both tampers with this compressor. It can run up to 3, and that'll all depend on your overall wall lengths that you're doing, if you could have multiple people in the forms or not. Let's get this connected. So we're up inside the formwork for where the workshoppers left off. If you see down here, we've got our foam, which is basically cast in the middle of the rammed earth. This is all nice and hard too. It's sat for a few days. It's hard the next morning, but before you, what this is going to do is create a cold joint, and you can see we've edge tamped the edges. But I've already been in here this morning with a vacuum, and then one of the ways that we can kind of disguise a cold joint is we're going to do a highlight layer, which is what you'll see is the no color and the black lines. We put that in and we edge tamp, and that kind of disguises the cold joint a little bit. So before we get going with ramming today, we're going to do our no color mix, and we also have to put horizontal steel in. This stuff's all in place up here already. It's all the way down into the footing, but we'll do our horizontal steel, our highlight line, and then we have to add the next level of foam to get up, which will bring us 2 feet up to here, and then yeah, then we'll be able to do about 4 to 5 lifts before we have to add in our last layer of form ply on the outside edge on the side we're loading from. One of the other things, we did place this wall completely with the mix and go. However, now that the help's gone, I'm going to put it into the man box on the telehandler and then shovel it in. It's going to make my life a little bit easier. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the highlight layer and the steel and the foam, and then we're gonna get ramming. Hi guys.
Bob?
Bob's been in this before.
Did we come up in the man box, Bob?
Bob knows all about it. He's been man boxing before.
Behind the scenes. This is how we get the shot.
So for our sample mix, or sorry, our highlight line, we are mixing them the same as we did for our sample blocks. And I've got this one pre-mixed and dry with the cement and the sifted base mix, as well as this one has black pigment in it. So I'm gonna mix this up some more, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of water and do a ball test, and then we're gonna carry this over to the formwork, and we're gonna put that in and edge damp it and show you that little trick to give yourself some nice crisp lines. So you always add just a little bit at a time.
Ooh.
You can see that color's changed quite a bit just with the moisture, but it's still definitely too dry. can see we're still a bit dry. That looks good. If anything, I'm a hair wet. It's crazy how quick yeah, it's a hair wet. So this can sit for a bit and I can mix it some more. There's going to be bits of dry in there. It's such a fine line from too dry to too wet in a small batch. All right, we got our mix. And we're going to use a scoop just to place it against the forms. All right, yeah, it's a little bit wet. It's going to work still. I'm going to have a little bit of delay between what I do, so I'm just going to go along and we're going to toss it just against the edges where we want it. This is for the highlight line. This is going to be the little the little wisps of color that we see in between our common color of the brown that we're using. And this doesn't have to be the full way through the whole wall. We're just doing it to highlight on the edges, so there's no point in having a thick mix. Okay, so we've got our edge tamper. You take the edge tamper and we go along. Just tamp that down nice. Okay, so we also had some calcite on our property. So I've cut this calcite nice and straight, so it's going to be placed against the edge of the form. And so this is what we would call embedding. So we're going to embed this into the round earth, so we're going to see a little white chunk in the wall. So I've already tamped that one edge of the highlight line. I'm going to place that, I'm just going to rough that up just a little bit where I want to put it. Just a little bit rough. And then I'm going to squish that down. So that's going to be exposed just to the flat side. So now I have to add more of the highlight mix just around that. Just pushing that around by hand to help embed everything in there. And then we want to shape it again. Okay, so the highlight line's in. Now we're going to do the steel and then the foam, but just to give you an idea of what you'll be working with. So we got to slide the steel in. One piece here. Drill. When you're tying the steel, you're using loop ties, these guys, and double them up just to make it a little bit stronger. So it binds the horizontals to the verticals. I'll get down in there. Do your best not to disrupt the highlight line that you put in. You can always re-edge tamp it if you need to. It just helps. The steel's strong and tensile, weak in compression, whereas rammed earth and concrete are strong in compression. So when you combine the two, you are essentially making the whole assembly stronger. So you can see the foam is returning for this corner here. It did slip away. The guys didn't have blocks in place for this structure, not the end of the world, but if you're going to do a house and you want to have your vapor and air barriers continuous, this is important to get this installed properly. I'll show you a trick here when we put the foam in. So these are just a jig made to help hold the foam in place. Slide them over top. This way when you're filling the form with the rammed earth, it is not going to move on you. It's going to help keep everything where it's supposed to be. The other thing that we could be doing is taping the horizontal seam on the bottom. I'm not going to on this wall. I'm not worried about the air barrier, but it's definitely an option. Okay, so I'm also just going to throw in a piece of foam on this end. And this is going to help hold the foam from moving this way on me. We want to load from this side first to stop it from moving away. I could probably also add another 8-inch piece here. And then this 2x6 is going to go on the other end. So we want to kind of load the outside of this first to help secure it in place. This one down here. Once you place everything, I'm going to be placing this with a shovel. So as long as you do it a little bit carefully until this gets secured, then once that first lift is in there, like you won't be able to pull this out at all, which is pretty impressive overall. Could use one more 8-inch piece just for this way. So we should be good. Yeah. The other thing you can do is ram in the direction that you want to secure this so it doesn't move away. So for example, on the return, if we ram this side first, it's going to help pin that towards the existing already completed rammed earth wall. All right, now we get a mix and ram. Let's go ram it.
Next time on the Thai Life.
So we've completed the course, the workshop's over, and I finished the last wall from this point up. And unfortunately I had a bit of an issue with the mix and the rammer I was using compared to the one that Max was using with the class.
We are James and Michelle, and we are. What are we doing?
I don't know where the workshoppers are, but it looks like I got a whole new crew of chickens. And a very ambitious Jojo. This should get done really quickly with this help. Oh, lost those guys now too.
Just say the welcome back for James and Michelle part.
Welcome back to the channel. We are James and Michelle. Why is it so funny?
He's so dry.
So welcome back to the channel. We're James and Michelle, and we are living in... Let me start over.
Okay.
Starting over again. Delete all those, please.
They're gonna be bloopers.